Elia's on here. What's up, Elia? Just saw Elia. Elia was on our Mesa Vision meeting. Even though Elia is the general manager of Bozeman, she also helps coach the Mesa office staff as well. And it's one of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons, but it's one of the reasons that that business is, yeah, it's doing well. It's doing well. And it's exciting because this whole call that we're on right now, this Road to a Million call, is started because of the Mesa location. We started by documenting the growth of that location, and not the growth, the start of the location. Uh, 91 or 92 weeks ago. I can't quite remember. I didn't look at it right before this call. But that's the point of this. That was the point of this call, is for us to show you guys, show the world, um, what it looked like to start a business from zero and get it to a million. Some of you guys have been on this journey from the beginning, someone like Elia, and it's been ugly. And to think it otherwise would be disappointing. And I think that was which it strokes my ego to show you guys success. It really, I think the biggest benefit was to show you that it is ugly and it was hard, and we had many setbacks, we had many ups, and we had many downs. And that was the thing I highlighted on our Mesa Vision meeting right before this call. Was like, right now, we're coming off a couple PR weeks, $22,000 and $21,000, and last week on a short week we hit almost $18,000, without working 2 days. And our team, yeah, our team is from the stats, from the things that we measure, their attendance, their Google reviews, their correction cleans, good, 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 good. And I was just highlighting it because it came off the back of one of the biggest problems that we've ever had, where we lost 14 of our 16 cleaners in February of this year. And it was tough. Not only did we lose the cleaners, we lost clients. We lost so many clients. And we had to turn up our marketing spend for clients and our marketing spend for cleaners, and our revenue went down. And we had 1 month, guys. This is the real. We had 1 month where we lost almost $20,000. $20,000 we lost. Yeah. That's the real. That's the real. And we had to push harder. When things got worse, we had to spend more money. We had to work harder. And that is hard to do. But that is what is required. And it is also the only reason that we are now here in December of 2025. Congratulations, guys. Well made it to December. Where last month that business did 83,000. Had a good profit, right? Actually profited. I think it profited close to $15,000 last month. But again, that profit this month, it came from us investing the 20, I don't know how many months we've been in business now, 21 or 22 months before that, where we didn't make any money, where we spent more money, and we worked hard just to get better. And there's a saying that Alex says, and like, I think the more that we can believe it and not just say it, then it allows us to get through challenging times. But if you guys make the goal learning before earning, once you have learned how to actually grow your business, then you will make lots of money. But until you learn how to do it first, don't expect to earn. And that's why most people struggle, is because they want to earn without learning. But you only learn by making mistakes. You only learn on the back of losing 14 to 16 cleaners, of spending more money and your profit and your revenue going down. And that was the real reason why we started this call 90-some weeks ago, was to show you it's not sexy, it's not pretty, and it's definitely not perfect. And we learned that from the first business that we got to $1 million, and that's the one that Elia is currently running in Montana. And so there's many things that are required in order for us, all of us on here, to build a successful business, to build $1 million business. But the thing that we're going to talk about today is the conviction to sell. So if you guys have listened to me over the last couple of weeks, I basically have narrowed it down to 4 skill sets that every operator, every person in here needs to be able to do in order for you to grow a $1 million business, or even just double your business, triple your business, grow your freaking business consistently. Okay, there's 4 skills. Katie, what's the first one?
The courage to commit.
I want to put this on a t-shirt. How many of you guys would buy this if I put this on a t-shirt? Right? Because this is the game. You have to have the courage to commit. Okay. Got to be able to commit to start the business. You got to commit to marketing. You got to commit to coaching. You got to commit to your employees. You got to commit to doing whatever it takes to make sure the business grows. And that takes courage, because everybody around you is saying, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? You should just have a life. You should just have a balanced life. You work too hard.
The marketplace sometimes also tells you that you
You're
suck.
too expensive. You're not very good. Here's a 1-star review from an employee that was with you for a week and a half. You're the worst boss ever. Okay. Are you going to keep going, or are you going to quit? You have the courage to continue to go forward, or are you going to let this naysayer over here stop you? Are you going to listen to him? Number one thing every operator needs to do, every skill, every number one skill every operator needs to have is the courage to commit. And by the way, it's not a one-time thing. It's every freaking day, every week. There's going to be a new thing in front of you that you have to continue to have the courage to commit towards. And that's what makes all these skill sets hard. They're really simple, except for when you understand that they're a daily thing. They're a daily skill. Okay. Second one, Katie.
Ability to learn.
The humility to learn. Yeah. So this is where we got to set the ego aside. We got to realize that if the business isn't growing, it's because of you, not your marketplace, not your employees, not your clients, you. When you actually understand it's you are the reason your business isn't growing, then you can actually start to ask yourself the next question, which is, what do I need to do to get the business to grow? And that's what the humility to learn is to understand exactly is to have the awareness to be able to understand exactly where you are and understand where you need to be, and for you to just simply close the gap. But most people aren't willing to they're not willing to put themselves in a situation so they know exactly where they are. They're not willing to do their data. They're not willing to have a vision sheet. They're not willing to look at their bank account. They're not willing to ask for help. They don't actually want to know the answer. They just want to continue to be comfortable doing it the way they're doing it, even if it's bad. And that's what the humility to learn is the willingness to constantly question what you're doing and understanding that in order for you to go from where you are to your goal, you have to first be humble enough to realize, here's where I'm at, and guess what? You're not good enough right now. Because if you were, you would already be there. And there's actually a lot of freedom in just like coming to that conclusion. I'm actually not good enough to be $1 million business owner. Let's go this pressure of what you guys think you should be, or where you should be, or how far you think you should be by now. And it just is. Because when we can start with just is, then we can start making progress on where we need to be. Because where we need to be is actually pretty simple. Like 83K, I can tell you exactly what the math is. 14 cleaners, working 28 hours a week, make it happen, right? $19,000 a week in revenue. 4 weeks in a row, $83,000. The math is there. You just got to see where are you at, and are you willing to do what's required in order to start to close the gap on how many cleaners you have, how many hours they're working, what your revenue is. Are you willing to close the gap? Okay. Humility to learn. Number 2. Katie, what's number 3?
The conviction to sell.
This is the one we're talking about today, my friend. So I'm gonna pause on the going down. Like this whole call is gonna be based on this. So I'm gonna pause on this one because this whole call is on the conviction to sell. But Katie, what's the 4th one?
The self-control to follow the plan.
Yeah. It's funny because when I made these, I was under the assumption that everyone had a plan. And for everybody who's inside the mentorship, specifically people who are inside one-on-one coaching, like you guys actually have a plan. And that plan is actually all based around the vision sheet. It's all based around your data. It's based around here's where you are versus here's where you want to go, which is what we talked about in the humility to learn aspect of it. And the only reason that like when you do one-on-one coaching, it shows you have at least a piece of the humility to learn. Like I said, like it's not like you're like none of these things are 0 or 1. So the idea or the expression is binary. It's either you do have it or you don't have it. Like that is not the case in any of these. It's to what degree do you have the courage to commit? To what degree do you have the humility to learn? To what degree do you have the conviction to sell? To what degree do you have the self-control to follow the plan? Because all you guys have this to some degree. The people with the biggest businesses just have more degrees, I guess would be the expression, right? And so your job is not to say, I'm going to do this. It's going to say, it's for you just to turn up the thermostat, turn it up. More commitment, more humility, more conviction, more self-control. Okay. Yeah. Follow the plan. Okay. So what does that mean, Katie? Like when we say self-control to follow the plan, what does it actually mean?
Do what's required to make the business grow, despite it not feeling good.
Yeah. I talk about Julia a lot because I think I have her call on Mondays. So like I have her one-on-one call on Mondays. But she just finished last month, which was November, at $99,500 in a short month. And she was talking about how like it doesn't feel good. She wants to cry. And by the end of the call, I just was like, I appreciate you so much for your ability to follow the plan, even when you don't feel like it. And that's the thing that like nobody in here, unfortunately, you guys don't get to be able to experience this. Like I feel like I'm cheating. I feel so lucky that I get to experience success, not just in my businesses. Again, I've created $2 million businesses from zero, but I've also helped 6 now. Ooh, we just added one more. I've helped 6 other businesses hit 83K. We just got one more that added, and I'll share more about that here in a second. I coach 6 other people who also have built businesses from 0 to 83K. And the thing that I would love to be able to just like share with you guys is that it's hard. Not a single person had it easy. All you guys get to see is a testimonial. You guys go into the mentorship group and you guys see the testimonial of Julia. I hit $100,000 in 14 months of business. Or Jacinta, I've been in business for 25 years, but this year I went from 36,000 to 83,000. Like totally opposite ends of the spectrum, both to the same goal. Okay, and you have everybody in between there. Every single one of those stories, they had to do those 4 things, but the biggest one, they had to have the self-control to follow the plan. And what that really means is like they got uncomfortable, they got scared, they had fear, but they got on the phone calls anyway. They made the offer anyway. They invested in marketing anyway. They did the thing anyway. And as simple as it is, as simple as those 4 things are, it's very challenging, guys, to do it day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. But those are the 4 things. But today, my friends, we're going to go deep on the conviction to sell because it is the thing. It is the thing. It is the hard skill that is required in order for you guys to grow in our business. You have to be able to sell. And so if you guys got on this call, the headline was the secret ratio that lets you market for free forever. Well, here's a spoiler. How you can market for free forever is you convert your leads by selling them. That's how you market for free forever. You got to convert leads. And so for all you guys who do one-on-one coaching, like this is not new to you. This is actually something we talk about every single day. But for you guys who don't do one-on-one coaching, for some of you guys who are not even inside our mentorship or inside the community, might be brand new to you. But just understand that it's new to you, but like this is how we're able to predictably and consistently grow businesses is by this marketing ratio. It's because I can spend as much money as I freaking need to in order for the business to grow and actually make money on marketing, or I at least break even. And that's what I'm going to teach you guys today is the marketing ratio that allows you to market for free forever at minimum. But if you get really good, you actually can make money with marketing. And instead of saying like, I don't want to spend more money, you're like, how do I spend more money? How do, because you understand how you get more money back when you market. Okay. So, um, before we dive in though, I do want to give a huge shout out. I'm not sure if they're on here today, but Alexis and Lamar, yeah, in the month of November, if you guys saw inside the school group, excuse me, inside the mentorship group, they just posted their Zen-made screenshots. They hit $85,000 on a short month as well. And crazy, 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 crazy. So Alexis Lamar, they were actually the last decade in a day that I should say the last one-on-one decade in a day that we did. I think it was probably about a year ago, right, Katie? You remember that?
It was, yeah, about a year.
November-ish 2024. So they were the very last decade in a day. So number 25. If you guys haven't heard me talk about decade in a day, this is how we started coaching. Is we would do a 1 day, um, 2 night experience where people would fly out to us. We would put them in our Airbnb, and we just got down on their business. Right, for one whole day, they had our full attention. And so Lex Lamar were the very last ones, whoever did this. And yeah, their business is in Florida. And yeah, it was funny because Katie and I leading up to it, we're like, this is the last one. So I wouldn't say we're checked out, but we're like, the reason that we stopped doing the one-on-one decade in days is that we stopped learning. And when Katie and I stopped learning, we realized we got to do something different. And so we were kind of checked out. We were like, we weren't so excited, but then like when Alexis Lamar actually got there and we started hanging out with him, we're like, whoa, like you guys are cool. We just like yeah, we had bad judgment. We had bad preconceived notions. And that's what I think when also just makes us humans is that like we judge before we actually understood. And so grateful that we actually got that experience because our perceptions completely changed after that. And then about 2 months ago, I reached out to them. I'm like, let me coach you guys. Let me do some one-on-one coaching with you guys. And so I hadn't taken on a one-on-one client in a little bit of time, but I just saw what their problem was. I was like, I can just help you solve your problem. I know exactly what your problem is, and I can help you solve it. So about 2 months ago, I started coaching them, and they were doing around 60,000 a month. And yeah, in the last 2 months, they jumped, and it's because they could market and they could sell. And then at that point, their problem was actually something else, but that's the problem I actually knew how to solve. But they knew how to market and sell, and that's why I want to share with you guys today too. Is that if you guys can market and sell, then you guys can have $1 million business too, and it actually can happen pretty quickly. If if you're able to bring enough leads in and you're able to convert them where you actually make money on marketing. You guys ready? You guys ready to figure out the secret ratio that lets you market forever? You ready for this?
So,
Okay. Okay. So recently we've been doing a 20-day challenge. And this has allowed some new people like Devin's on here right now. I'm trying to think like if anybody else is on here who's done the challenge. Dimitri did the challenge. Jenny's in the challenge right now. So basically, look what the 20-day challenge is, an opportunity for people to come in and like test this system, this thing that I talk about of how people are growing from 0 to 83K. It's an opportunity for you to test it out, right? And test the system and really just get an idea of like what it actually takes. Because in my experience, everybody wants to grow $1 million business until they actually understand the sacrifice, the pain, the problems that come with growing $1 million business. And so, yeah, so the 20-day challenge is something that we're offering. However, this is the last week that we're opening it up for new people to come in. So if you are interested in test driving this 28-day challenge system and having an opportunity to learn this sales and marketing system that I'm talking about today, get into the challenge this week because this is the last week that we're opening it up to new people. And yeah, it's your last opportunity to test it out for 28 days. After that, you can still join the mentorship. You just will come right into the mentorship. There'll be no trial basically. James dropped a link for that. So if you are interested, the link is in there. But what the challenge has helped me when we're helping people who are just getting started or people who are just getting started implementing the system to understand is that there's a huge difference between when you started your business and you were growing it with referrals and friends and family members, people who already trusted you, versus like trying to sell strangers. Okay. Trying to get strangers to raise their hand and say, hey, Devin, Marcus, Kristen, Dina, like I'm interested in your service. Like that's a different skill set to get strangers to raise their hand. Okay. And so in my experience, a lot of people when they start their cleaning business, they can get to 0 to 20, sometimes even $30,000 without actually spending money on marketing because they just rely on people who trust them, already know them, referrals, friends, family members, things like that. Okay, which is great. I highly recommend doing that. That's actually how we started Mesa. Is we asked what few friends we had down here, and every time we got a client, we just asked them if they had a friend, and we just kept on doing that. And then we started marketing, and then it really started taking off. So highly recommend doing that, but you're just never going to get to $1 million. You're never going to get to $82,000 a month without paying for marketing, without getting strangers to raise their hand and say, I'm interested. And then for you to be able to sell said stranger into letting you come into their home and giving you opportunity to actually deliver a 5-star experience. And so most people, when they start their business, they think they're good at sales. This is what I call the illusion of I'm good at sales. You think you're good because you're selling referrals. And this is where people have a lot of trouble with selling strangers, is because strangers, you don't sell strangers on accident. You have to be very intentional on what you say in order to bridge the trust gap with a stranger in order for them to feel comfortable enough to give you their credit card and for you to be able to have the opportunity to come into their home and them give you money for that. And so one of the things that we teach inside the mentorship is I don't recommend selling. I actually recommend serving. And so what the difference in those two things are. So selling is actually putting your interests ahead of the stranger on the phone, which means that you will sell them at all costs. You will take their money no matter what they say. This is what most people do. They sell. And this is why most people are very bad at selling strangers, because strangers don't like being sold. You know what strangers love? They love being served. And so what does this mean? It means that you actually put the stranger's interests ahead of your own, which means that you don't take their money unless you believe you can solve their problem. And strangers like that. And strangers build more, and strangers start to gain trust in you when they understand that that's your priority, is them over you.
The reason that it's easy to sell to somebody who you already have a relationship with is because they either like you, know you, or trust you, or a combination of all three.
Yeah.
And when you don't know the person on the phone, when it is somebody who you've never had a relationship with, in a sales call, you have to get them to like you have to get them to know you, and or you have to get them to trust you.
Yeah.
And by selling, you deter those people. They're like repulsed by it. They're like, "Ew, no, thank you." You don't listen. You just bark orders and quote a price. When
Yeah.
you serve somebody, you're listening. You're actually solving their problem if you can. Now, if you can't, it's important not to push for a close if you actually can't solve the client's problem.
The best way to get more people to say yes is for you to tell more people no. Write that down. Because most people think about sales in an individual basis, and sales is a cumulative effort. Every single sale you do, it compounds. Most people don't realize that. And this is why I talk about the idea of selling versus serving, because every person you say no, it gives you more conviction that when you see somebody you can solve, you go after it. You're like, Devin, stop. Give me your money, bro. I can help you. That conviction comes from the 3 people before him. I told him no. And that's what you guys have to understand. It's not each sale is by itself. It's a cumulative effect. That's conviction, guys. It comes from a cumulative effect, not just an individual sale. Okay, remember, it's the conviction to sell. Okay. Now, Katie made a good point too, talking about listening. Okay. You guys will be able, like, you guys can tell when you guys get good at serving is when you ask questions and the person's like, wow, no one's ever asked me that before. It means that you're actually listening and you're just like, and you're curious. It's like, well, tell me about that. This might sound silly. I might sound silly, but like, what does that mean? So there's a little bit of humility to learn that also goes into the conviction to sell, is that the more you guys assume you guys know what the person's problem is, the less likely you're going to find out what the actual person's problem is. One of the things that has been something that has been a running joke in my family at the moment is you guys know when somebody says, like when someone says something like, yeah, like, you know, right? And so that's been like the running joke that everybody in my family, especially my 6-year-old, she'll call people out when they say, because when someone says, it means you probably don't really know because you did a bad job of explaining it. And then you did such a bad job and you're just like, you're like, no, I don't know. But if
Well,
you
the
can,
irony is that it makes the person that you're
yeah,
talking to feel like an idiot for asking, I
yeah,
don't actually know. I'm sorry, but can you explain that to me?
yeah. So you know how you really give a good pattern interrupt is when someone says, you're like, no, I don't know. Please explain to me. And they're like, ah, yeah. Because you know what? They don't really know. But less important about them, again, more important about you, and just understand that every time you guys say those things, every time you make assumptions, anytime you guys say words that you don't know, like it's a trigger for you to then be like, maybe I should actually figure out what I'm saying. Maybe you should get more clear on articulating the point you're trying to get across. And a lot of times, what you'll understand with prospects is like they don't really know what they want. That's a good thing, by the way. If you can just be curious and just ask them questions, like you said you wanted this, but like, what does that really mean? And it'll force them to try to figure out what they actually mean. And but the more that they have clarity on what they want, the more likely they are to feel comfortable giving money to solve that problem. And because you help them come to the conclusion of what they really wanted, it increases trust. And so the best way to close the gap on the trust on somebody who gets on a phone call who doesn't know who you are, to close that trust gap is to ask questions and to genuinely be curious and like really want to solve their problem. Because by doing that, like the person actually feels like their interests are ahead of yours, which makes them feel more confident to give you money because they also feel confident that if you do a bad job, you'll give the money back. Which, how many of you here guys would actually do that? How many guys would actually give someone's money back if you did a bad job? Okay, cool. I believe every person in here would do that. I just saw on our vision sheet today. I told you guys we just had a vision sheet. We had to give a full refund to somebody last week. Karen something or another. Hirsch or Kirsch or something. I don't remember. Like we do it every single week. Also, another problem of growing a big business is you do a lot of cleans, which means you have to have a lot of new people. And this person actually was a recurring client who we had to give money back to. It's a part of the game as well. Right? But every single time I'm giving money back. If we didn't do a good job, I'm giving money back. Because I value the relationship, the reputation over money. And if you guys can take that concept into a sales conversation and you can get someone to believe that, then they'll trust you more because like, what is their risk then? If they really believe that, I believe that if this person does not fulfill um, on what they said they're going to do, then they'll get their money back. So like, what do I have to lose? And that's the thought process you want prospects to have is like low risk, high reward. You articulate that to prospects. That's actually how you can build trust too with strangers faster. Just like, hey, and if you don't think like you could actually say this, I used to say this when I first started, when I was less confident, but I was like, if we don't do a good job, like I'll give your money back to you. It's like you have nothing to root, like you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. And I believed it. I believed in my team. I believe that even in the worst case scenario, even if we didn't do a good job, like I was okay giving money back. Yeah. Okay. You guys want to know what else helps with conviction? Having a framework. Understanding like how a conversation is supposed to go, or what a conversation looks like that actually ends up with the highest probability of somebody actually saying yes, I'll give you a shot. And so inside the mentorship, we also have a script. Okay. And so I'm actually going to go over the framework of the script. I'm not going to go through the entire script. I'm just going to go through the framework of the script so that way you guys can understand it. But like the more that you guys understand the framework, you guys understand like when we able to check these boxes, it increases probabilities that somebody will say yes. Now you can check all the boxes and someone can say no, and you can check none of the boxes and someone will say yes. And so again, it is not on an individual basis, but this is based on a cumulative basis that if you just check the boxes, if you are consistent as the person on the phone, and you check the boxes every single time, then the probability of people saying yes goes up. And if you don't check the boxes, then the probability goes down. But it doesn't mean that you won't get any yeses or any nos. It just means that you consistently will get more yeses by checking boxes, and you'll get consistently more nos if you don't check the boxes. So, Katie, let's talk about the framework of the script. Okay. So, what is the first section of the script?
I think this is honestly the most important part. It's the opener, it's the intro, it's how you introduce yourself or say hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, this is
Hello.
Katie.
Yeah.
So thrilled to talk to you today. What's your problem?
You guys think we're joking, but like we've actually listened to sales call reviews, and someone's like, Logan, how can I help you? Like, okay. Like, how about we have a different opener? How about we have how we have an opener that makes the prospect, it increases the probability the prospect trusts us. And so instead of
Or
saying
likes
Logan,
us.
yeah, Logan, how can I help you? Katie, what would be okay, actually, like before we get into these three things or into these things, there's three different openings based on how what's the right term? Based on
How we're getting them on the phone.
how we're
So
getting the
either are
phone.
they calling us? Are we calling them?
Yeah. So we
Those are
have
really the only two options.
we have call-ins, so people are calling us unprompted. We have an outbound call, which is also like an unscheduled call, but then we have a scheduled call. So there's actually three ways that we can actually talk to somebody, and all three of those needs different openers. Okay, there's different ways to talk to people based on those three situations. And so, Katie, instead of me answering the phone, being like, Logan, how can I help you? Like, what's an example of something that we do with our teams and the way that we coach inside the mentorship as well?
I think the most important part is to smile when you talk. It sounds like a really silly thing, but if you actually smile, your tone changes. So thank you for calling Mesa Five Star Cleaning. This is Katie. How can I help you?
Very simple, guys. Like these are this is not out like this is not something you're gonna put on a on a on a meme or you're gonna like blast out there like look at this crazy quote. It's just doing the basics. Like this is my name, this is my company. How can I help you today? It's just the basics. But I'm telling you guys, I've listened to lots of quote calls, lots of calls, and like this doesn't get done consistently. But it's important for you to practice and rehearse all three of those things. Okay, all three different ways. People calling you calling out, and then scheduled cold calls. And so inside the script, inside the mentorship, there is all three examples that walk you through verbatim what to say. Okay, so we're not going to go into that into detail today. Okay, but that's the first section of the script is the opener. Katie, what's the second section?
This one's the second most important, and it's the why. What problem are we trying to solve?
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about earlier, guys, is like if you guys can understand their problem, but most importantly, if you can help them understand their problem, the probability of them saying yes increases drastically. Okay. So asking questions like, why is this clean important? And when I say asking questions, you're not going to ask this question like that. You're just going to continue to figure out why this clean is important to them. So you have to continue to ask them questions and then follow up with them. And your job is for you to write it down. Why is this clean important to them? And if you wrote down because sister's coming to town, then like, cool. But like, why is a sister coming to town? Why is that important? What's the significance of sister coming to town? Why is it important that her sister gets a clean home? Like, tell me, like, you continue to ask. Like, those are like those are those are the details that allow somebody to really believe that you actually are trying to solve their problem.
What shows that you care when you actually listen and
Yeah.
follow up with questions to their answers. It shows that you're not just going through a list of questions, asking them questions and taking their order. You're actually listening to what they're giving you and you're
Yeah.
playing off of it.
Yeah. Why is this clean important? What happens if it doesn't get done? Like, so what are the like if this doesn't happen, what are the consequences? Why not just do it yourself? Right. And if out of all the services out there, like Like you could choose anybody. Like, what is most important to you? Is it money? Is it convenience? Is it time? Is it trust? Like those are really like probably the four questions that you have to answer. And if you can answer those questions well, then it means that the client or the prospect, excuse me, um, if they can answer those questions in their head, then they'll feel more confident in making the decision. If they understand why it's important, if they understand what happens if they don't, the consequences for it not getting done, if they understand why they don't want to do it themselves, and if they understand like what they're actually looking for in a service, and if you can check all those boxes, they'll pick you. Okay. Okay. Number three, Katie, what's the third section of the script?
Yeah, we need to know whether or not they are looking for just a one-time cleaning or something on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is mainly for the offer that we use for this specific script is we need to know if they really are just a one-time client or if they're a recurring client, then we can give them a deal. So that's good information for us for what is this number 6 that's coming down the pipeline. But let's talk about number 4. So what is number 4? What is the fourth section of the script that we need to know?
Yeah, this one's, I love this one. I love putting weight behind this one. We need to identify whether or not this avatar has used a cleaning service before or not, because how we are going to talk to them and how we're going to deliver the value is going to be different if somebody has previously had a recurring service by another cleaning company or somebody who's never experienced a professional cleaning. How we communicate the value to them is going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. This helps us ask better questions too. This helps us, yeah, this helps us speak to them. Just like what Katie said, this helps us speak to the right person, and that helps build trust. So everything goes back to building trust. Okay, so let's recap these before we get the to the bottom half here. So number 1 section of the script
The
opener.
intro,
Number 2.
understand their problem,
Number 3.
one time versus recurring,
And then number 4.
identify the avatar.
Cool.
As
So
you guys
guys,
notice, the whole top section of the framework is questions. You are listening. This is the time that the client is doing more speaking than you.
have you guys ever had like a bad sales experience? Have you guys ever got on a phone call with a Yelp guy trying to sell you advertising? That's my bad experience that I remember. I was telling the story the other day. This was when I had my gym. Got on a sales call with a Yelp guy, and I was on that call for over an hour. I remember on my couch. This was before Katie and I lived together, and I was on that call for an hour. And I never said a word. He just talked the entire time. And what I've realized is the worst salespeople talk the most. The best salespeople ask the most questions, and they talk the least. And so it's a really good. Again, it's not everything because sometimes you need to talk, guys. You like don't like. I'm not supposed to talk. So like, understand this is that the majority of the talking that you do is asking questions. That's good. And then the majority of the prospect talking back and answering questions, also good. That's actually your goal. So if you ask a lot of questions and they give you a lot of short liners, cool, then keep asking questions. Then that might mean you weren't talking more, but you just continue to ask more questions.
One thing that sometimes our salespeople do is they also like regurgitate back to them what they just said. So we can understand, make sure that I'm understanding you
Mm-hmm.
correctly. Like you have a sister coming to town and she's arriving as early as tomorrow afternoon and she absolutely hates arriving at a dirty house. Is that right? So reframing exactly what they said back to them so they can confirm that you were listening.
Yeah, it's really good. Really solves 2 problems. Number 1, like I said, it helps them know you're listening. But number 2, it helps them get labeled with the problem. So now they have this problem that's on them and they can't take it. Like, yes, that's right. Like, okay, cool. Now you have this problem. You have it on you. And the only way you can get rid of this is with my service. Like, that's also a second piece. So, okay. So those are the first 4. Now let's talk about number 5. And this is the one that people will skip the first 4 to go straight to because it's the easiest one.
Taking orders, figuring out the logistics,
Yeah.
bedrooms, bathrooms, home conditions, pets, square footage.
Yeah.
Give
I
me
will
all the
say,
information I need to give you a quote.
yeah, and guys, by the way, it's important. You need this information to give a quote because we give quotes over the phone. I'm not minimizing its importance. Most people just skip the first four and they get to this and they go straight to this, and they wonder why they can't get people to say yes. It's because you become an order taker. Just like Katie said, like this is not a restaurant. We're not taking orders. Like we actually have to understand the problem. We have to help the person be able to believe that we actually can solve their problem. And I was on a I was on a call earlier today with Lucas and Katie. Like, this is our coaching call that we do, and I was telling them that I believe that the reason why most people are really bad at sales is because they're so afraid of the price. They're so afraid of giving prices that the whole time that they're talking to somebody, they can't even focus on listening. They can't focus on asking questions because they know coming around the corners, they're going to have to deliver a price and it's going to be big. And the person, they might say no. And I think that's why people rush to logistics is because they just want to be able to just like get rid of this feeling, this impulsive feeling that they want to get rid of the price. And so they like, give me the logistics, so I can give you a price. Okay, now what? And so I think one of the best things that you guys can do to overcome this is actually practice giving prices, big prices. What if you actually sold it clean for $500 or $600 or $1,000 or $2,000? The more times you get comfortable saying those numbers, the more times you feel comfortable with the close, with asking for money, then you can actually be more focused in the beginning of the conversation on asking questions because you feel confident that when you do ask for money, you're not it's not something that you're self-conscious about, that you're insecure about. And so one of the things that we're doing this week inside the mentorship is we're doing a sales training. And so Lucas is volunteering his time, and so is Julia as well. They're volunteering their time on Thursday to do a sales training for everybody inside the home cleaning mentorship. And so that call is at 12:30, 1:30 Eastern time, and it'll be hosted by both Lucas and Julia. And they're doing it on their own time. They're not getting paid for this. They're doing it out of just they want to help the community. And that's why I love the community. That's why I love Jessica and Lucas so much. And that's why I love Julia. And that's because like they want to help. They want to give back. Like they have grown their businesses to over 83,000. Both of them actually over $100,000 a month. And they want to help. And they're also smart because they realize that the more that they help, like the more that they give, the more that they get back. And that really is the secret. That's one of the reasons that we're sitting here is like we just give. We just keep giving, 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 and people give to us all the time. You guys give to us by your attention right now. You guys give us some of you guys give us money, right? The more that we give, the more that we get. And so if you guys are inside the mentorship, then definitely show up to that call on Thursday. It's a one-time call, so it's not every single week. It's just one time. So if you want to get some sales training from two people who have got really good at sales. By the way, Lucas was actually very bad at sales. That's why I love Lucas so much, because he was bad and he got good. Those are the people you want to learn from, right?
Did
Julia,
he do that by avoiding the phone?
he tried. He tried. He tried. And then he also just had the self-control to follow the freaking plan and just got on phone calls until it no longer was something he wanted to avoid. Like that's the real. Because yes,
Do you know why you usually avoid something?
because you're bad at it. I think that's why I like to avoid things.
Yeah. And then when you get better, do you usually avoid it or do you get excited for it?
No, then I'm like super excited because I was once bad and I got good at it. Then I want to tell everybody about it. Everybody, you guys can do this too, right? And I think that's the excitement that Lucas and Julia both have is that like they got good at something and now they want to share it with other people. So I definitely get on that call, guys.
I think one powerful thing that is also worth noting is a lot of you guys starting selling to prospects. You have this fear because you would not pay the price that you charge for cleaning services. So you are not your ideal avatar. So you don't have a belief that somebody else would pay the price that you are asking. And I think behind the scenes, like the easiest way to overcome this is to become your ideal avatar. Like make enough money that buying back your time and having a house cleaner makes sense. That's like the easiest way to get over this fear of, you know, no one else is going to pay this price. Like just go pay the price. And then you'll be like, holy shit, that was totally worth it. I love this service. It's so valuable. Now I have the conviction to actually go sell it. The second is going back to listening and trusting and seeking to understand the problem that this client has. If the problem is buying their time back, like it doesn't matter the price. If you can actually solve the client's problem and you can listen to them, no longer are you insecure and selling from your own pocketbook, but you're actually like caring about the client on the other end of the phone and able to sell that higher ticket price.
Really good. Really good. Yeah, it's funny, guys. Like the more successful you get, the easier it becomes because you become more like your avatar. And when you're just getting started, you're so different than your avatar that it makes it really hard. You're just quite literally like speaking a different language. It's like speaking English for Spanish. Like you guys are just like talking, but like you guys don't understand what you guys are like. You don't actually understand the other person at all. And then as you get more successful, as you become $1 million business and up, then like you actually become more like your avatar, where you actually care more about your time than you do about money, and you're willing to trade that said money for time, and that's exactly what your avatar also is doing. So that's why it's important for you guys to become successful. And that's why it's important for you guys to personally grow, because again, this whole game is about personal growth. And as you guys personally grow, your business will follow. And that's the only way it happens. Like a business doesn't grow first and then you grow. It's like you grow and your business falls behind it. And the more that you grow, the easier the business gets. And that's is what it is. Okay, let's keep going the script though. So we have logistics number 5. After logistics, Katie, what's number 6?
Number 6, we're going to deliver the recurring offer if the client has told us that they are interested in a recurring service.
Yes. Yeah, so we're gonna use a discount for the recurring offer to incentivize both the first time clean and recurring cleans. So I did a whole training on this. I did a release last week inside the mentorship. So there's a post in there. There's a re-release in there. Go listen to that. But that recurring offer, it's the game. It's how you get people to say yes to initial cleans and sign up for recurring. We call this the
And if they
entrepreneur
don't
double
want
dip.
a recurring offer, that's fine. You're gonna quote the price now.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna make them pay the higher price, which is validated by everything in the training. So, okay. After we give the recurring offer and they say yes, what happens then?
Now we start talking and
Yes.
we schedule the clean.
Yes.
So we ask
Well,
for the address, we ask for their gate code, we ask where their garbage can is. I guess we're still asking questions, but then we are setting expectations. When are the cleaners going to arrive? What's going to happen between this call and when the cleaners arrive? When they arrive, what's going to happen? When they arrive and they complete the clean, what is the expectation for their walkthrough?
yeah.
How's the
This part,
invoice going to be sent?
this part is probably again, is if getting the yes is let's just call that like, that's how we know we're successful. This is how we can ensure that the client has an opportunity to either stay on recurring or do more business with us, is if we can get this part right. Because really, guys, what we're doing is we're understanding the client's problem. We're going to relay that inside our CRM. We're gonna put notes in there for our cleaners to actually use in order to go deliver the experience without ever having talking to the client. And so that's really our job, is we're the middleman. We're the communicator between the client and the cleaner. And our notes is what the cleaners can use in order to be able to meet the client's expectations. And that's why I think this is a silly thing to offload or to have like a VA do or somebody else do. Like, you guys who are doing the sale should do this part. And I've seen this happen so many times. And I don't like it, because it just makes it more complicated, and it gives one more person to be able to play in this game of telephone. That makes it harder for us to be able to communicate exactly what the client wanted to the cleaner, so they can deliver a 5-star experience. But once they say yes, like, this is where the real work begins. We need to make sure that we actually can set expectations and deliver on them. So that's number 7. Katie, what's number 8?
Collecting a deposit.
Yes. Yeah, this is something that we have started doing in the last 3 months, I believe, 2-3 months. And we started it just in our Mesa location, our Arizona location, and now we have made it mandatory in our Bozeman location as well, because it works. And originally we just asked people for credit cards. So if you guys have been doing that, good first step. But now we ask for a $100 non-refundable deposit. It also works. And nobody who would have said yes to the credit card has said no to the $100 deposit. Do that. It works. And then number 9, Katie, what's the last thing
Yeah,
on
talking
our
about
script?
the cancellation policy. So letting them know what happens if they do cancel within 48 hours of their scheduled appointment.
Yeah. And so when it comes to deposit inside the mentorship, there is a script. There is exactly what to say to get the deposit. It's super simple. The cancellation policy as well. All 9 of these things. So let's go over them one more time. But inside the mentorship, guys, so you guys are inside the mentorship. You haven't gone through the sales script. Like go through the sales script. There's actually like exact words to say. This is just the framework. Number 1, we have the opening. Katie, what's number 2?
Understand their problem.
Number 3.
One time versus recurring.
Number 4.
Identify the avatar.
Number 5.
Logistics.
Number 6.
The offer.
Number 7.
Schedule the claim.
Number 8.
Collect the deposit.
Number 9.
Review the cancellation policy.
So earlier, guys, when I said you're not going to accidentally sell strangers, this is what I'm talking about. You don't accidentally do all 9 of these things every single time. And so that's why it's important for you guys to understand the framework. And so when you guys follow the framework on every single sales call, you increase the probability that people will give you their credit card, give you a $100 deposit, and let you come to their home and clean. It happens on purpose. And so the reason why that's important is for you guys to be able to convert your leads is because how do you know if your marketing works is really going to be dependent on if you can convert the leads. So it's not how many impressions you get. It's not how cute your ads are. It's not if you like the ads. It's not even what your cost per lead is that determines whether your marketing is working or not. It's your marketing ratio. Okay. And so this is what the whole point of this call was about. Now, before we talk about marketing ratio, I have a lot of people who are brand new to the mentorship, people who are outside the mentorship. They'll ask me questions about my lifetime value and my cost to acquire a customer. These are some numbers or some phrases that you'll hear, some of the bigger entrepreneurs on the internet talk about. Like Alex definitely talks about this. You'll definitely hear other entrepreneurs talk about these type of numbers. Okay. Now, while these numbers are important, they're useful long-term data. They're useful for valuations. Like if I want to come in and I want to buy your business, Kristen, as an example, sure, I want to know what your LTV is. I want to know what your CAC is, right? However, for you to grow your business, those numbers are not relevant to you. Like that, those numbers do not help you for you to determine, is my marketing working or not? Not in the short term. And so the number that actually matters is your marketing ratio, which, by the way, guys, is very, very simple. It's how much money you spend on marketing versus how many new sales, your new sales revenue you made for that week. And that equals your marketing ratio. Okay. So if I give you guys an example, okay, if we spent $1,000 on marketing this week, and this week you also sold $5,000 of new sales. Okay, means you got on the phone call, you got on phone calls, and people agreed to $5,000 of cleans. Now it wasn't just on this week, but it was spread out. Some was on this week, some was on next week, some was on the week afterwards. But you sold $5,000 of new sales this week. That would be $1,000 divided by 5,000, which would be actually, I think it's $5,000, divided by 1,000, which would be a ratio of 5 to 1. Okay. And 5 to 1, that is your minimum that you need to effectively market for free forever. Now, some of you guys know this answer. Some of you guys who do one-on-one coaching, but Katie, why is 5 to 1 actually the market for free forever? Because if I'm spending $1,000, I make $5,000, then like I'm making $4,000, right?
You know what I mean, right?
You know what I mean, right? Right?
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
Okay, perfect. So the average cleaning business operates on a 20% profit margin. So what that really means is that for every $5 that a cleaning business makes, you get to keep one of them, right? 1 divided by 5 is 20%. So what that really means is that for every $5 you make, you get to keep one. So when it comes to you spending $1,000 and making 5,000, you only get to keep 1,000 of that dollars. And that $1,000 you kept actually went right back into marketing. Now, if you spent $1,000 and you made $10,000, then you get to take a little bit of money home with you. And that's what like our companies usually make more than 5 to 1. And there's a lot of people who I coach make over 5 to 1 as well. But that's the minimum. Okay. The minimum for you to be able to market for free forever is for every dollar you put into marketing, if you can get at least $5 back every 7 days, you can have an unlimited marketing budget.
We'll avoid going into the red to acquire a customer if you can hit a 5-to-1 ratio.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so I'll give you another example. So last week was a little bit wonky with Thanksgiving, but the week before that, our Mesa location, we spent $1,889 on marketing.
In a week.
In 1 week. We sold $11,935 in 1 week. And so if we divide 11,935 into 1889, that is a 6.3 to 1 ratio. Okay, which means that we put $1 into marketing, we got $6 back. It's good. Now in Bozeman, we spent $342 in a week. So again, much smaller ad spend, but we sold $6,380. So we take $6,380, divide that by 342, and we got an 18 to 1 ratio. So in Bozeman, we spent $1 and we got $18 back. Now, the question I have for you is, which one would you choose? Would you choose Mesa, where you spent $1,889 and sold $11,935? Or would you choose Bozeman, where you spent $342, but you sold $6,380? You got an 18 to 1 or 6 to 1? Which business do you guys want? If you were to do this for every single week for 52 weeks, which business do you want? Put it in the chat. It's a 100% a real question. I love this. So for you guys who are just listening, you guys can't see the chat. Every single person who has voted for Bozeman. It's not the business I would pick. So while the marketing ratio is important for your security to make sure your marketing breaks even, the number that matters the most is how much money was actually sold. And so you guys got distracted by the marketing ratio, which is fine. It was intentional.
It was trickery.
It was trickery. The real number is that I would take $12,000 in new sales over $6,000 every single time. Every single time.
I think that's actually a really cool ratio to show, though, because it shows two different businesses at two different times in growth. So Mesa is charging hard in growth right now. Bozeman is not growing at the same rate as Mesa. It is optimizing right now. So
yeah, well, it actually comes back to a different place of we just don't have enough cleaners in Bozeman. And so like the real problem, guys, when you get to Julia's level and you guys get to Bozeman and Mesa and all the other people who have done $83,000 a month, like marketing and sales, you got to be able to have that skill set. But if you want to get to $2 million, it's your cleaners. You got to be able to hire and, most importantly, retain cleaners. And so that's why those ratios are the way they are, is because like Mesa has enough cleaners so we can actually spend more money, where Bozeman we can't do it. We actually can't spend enough money. So you actually can't utilize your system. You can't utilize your marketing system that can make you more money because you can't spend enough. So again, just want to give you guys a little bit different thought processes. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for showing today. Again, this was understanding the marketing ratio is 5 to 1. That gives you break even, but ultimately your goal is like the total amount of revenue produced. Like that's the real goal. That's the real goal that you guys want. Understanding that if you guys do want to build $1 million home cleaning business, like the 7 businesses behind me, and we got one more new one coming. You got to be able to market and sell. And for all you guys who are like writing things down, this call will be uploaded into the Road to a Million replays, and the notes also will be uploaded in there, so you guys can grab all the notes as well. Those are all. If you guys are inside the mentorship, it'll be inside the mentorship. If you guys are inside the free home cleaning courses group, inside the free group, it'll be in there as well. And then, yeah, if you guys want to be part of the mentorship, you guys actually want to hang out with people who are actually growing businesses, million-dollar businesses, and even people who are just starting their businesses, who are doubling their business and tripling their business and quadrupling their businesses, and you guys want to be a part of the growing community. James will shot the link for the challenge. This is the very last week, so we're not offering the challenge after this week. Truthfully, it's just a lot of work, to be completely fair with you guys. That's all. Like it's really good. It's honestly really good for the new cleaning business owners, and it's just a lot of work for Katie and I, to be completely transparent. And we just bought a brand new business. We're still growing our businesses. I still want to coach the Julias and the Jessica Lucases and any other awesome people, and I just only have so much time. So that's the truth. So
I'd like to highlight everybody who showed up to the sales call today because it is not as shiny object-y as marketing. As you can see, there's less people on this week as there was last week. However, I think sales is the bigger driver of growth personally, because you can only do so much in marketing behind the scenes that is going to change how many leads you get every single week. But having the humility to learn, to gain the conviction to sell, is something that will actually allow you to scale your cleaning business. Like it is rejection after rejection after rejection, and still having the courage to pick up the dang phone again, commit, and stick to the plan and get better. So all of you that showed up today, like kudos to you, because this is truly I think this is when I see my clients and I coach them, like this is the one skill set that is the big domino to the rest of the skills that are required to grow this business. It's sales. Because it turns from selling clients to selling cleaners to selling office staff to selling Elias on coaching office staff. So
I think you said it really well too, Katie. Like sales is the best personal growth. Like this is the best personal growth skill you'll get. It will, you'll get a lot of benefit. You'll get a lot of benefit from it in your business. You'll see the benefits, but you also will get some hidden benefits in your relationships with your spouse, selling your spouse, selling your kids, selling your people around you. Like everything is a game of sales. And the more that you can see life through that lens, it makes life a little bit easier when you can just see everything through the lens of sales and actually enjoying sales and being able to enjoy serving people. Again, remember guys, this goes back to the beginning, like really how I teach sales, how I recommend thinking about sales is through service. It's serving the person, putting their needs ahead of yours. And if we can just all agree on that definition, then like sales will change your life. It's all about putting other people's interests ahead of yours, and then still being able for it to make sense for you. Like that's the game. So yes, 20-day challenge starts now. Actually, it ends at the end of this week. So click the link if you want on the 20-day challenge, and it starts next week basically. So. Appreciate you guys. Happy freaking Monday. And again, if you guys don't check the mentorship, there is a sales call on Thursday that Julia and Lucas will be leading. And they'll be helping you guys get more clarity on this whole game of serving and helping other people. And most importantly, helping yourselves. So thank you guys for showing up today. Happy freaking Monday. See you guys later.
bye-bye.